A film is a mosaic. Music, dance, costume, set design, drama, dialogue, makeup, shot sizing, movement. This is all what makes up a film. I'm a movie buff, guilty as charged, and watching films over and over again to analyze them is my favorite pastime. However good films may be, they have a time constraint. Unlike looking at a painting or reading a book, you can't take your own sweet time while watching a movie. The only way that can be done is either if you sit and decipher each and every frame and try to understand the movie shot by shot, or if you decide to watch a movie over and over again to the point where you've memorized the script itself. I'm Sahaba, and today I'll be analyzing Zoya Akhtar's filmmaking style while referencing three of her movies: Gully Boy, Dil Dhadakne Do, and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. As mentioned earlier, since movies come with a time constraint, the aim of a good filmmaker should be to get the point of a scene across in as many ways as they can. And Zoya Akhtar does just that. After having watched every single one of her films, a few of them multiple times, I can say that she has a distinct style. A style which seems to have three salient features. Number 1, color palette, costume design and props. Number 2, use of space. And number 3, songs and non-diegetic sound. Number 1, color palette, costume design and props. Before we get into the technicalities of shot sizing and camera movement, paying attention to what's within a frame is just as important as the frame itself. Zoya places an emphasis on the color palette of her films to denote the mood of the scene, the emotions the characters are experiencing, and the climax or confrontational scenes in her films. In Gully Boy, you can see that the tones for the film are greys, browns, and blacks. For Dil Dhadakne Do, the primary color is blue, and bright colors are used to bring about a contrast, especially when a character is having a breakthrough. Another example of this can be seen in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. The primary color palette for the movie is pastels. Hrithik Roshan's character Arjun is shown to be a money man. He's a financial broker who's a workaholic, and his personality is reflected in the color palette of his home. His house features shades of grey and black, and it symbolizes his closed-off mindset and isolation from the people around him. Another thing is the character's clothes. Costumes in Zoya's films also symbolize the emotions of a scene or the place of the character in their character development arc. Again, in the case of Arjun, his clothes in the beginning of the movie are tight and constricting, while towards the end of the movie you can see him sporting loose linen shirts and breezy pants, symbolizing the growth of his character. In Gully Boy, a similar pattern is noticed. When Murad, Ranveer Singh's character, is forced to work as a driver, you can see his clothes bring out a different personality in him. He wears a uniform which makes him blend in when he actually wants to stand out. Whenever he's rapping, he's truly himself, and his clothes reflect his freedom too. Finally, the use of props in Zoya Akhtar's films is meticulous. Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara shows a beautiful example of this. Bagwati, the funny bag personality that Imran, Farhan Akhtar's character, came up with, was much more than comedic relief. It was symbolic of Natasha's presence. Natasha was Kalki Koechla's character. Natasha is an overpossessive freak who has trust issues with Kabir, Abhay Deol's character. And the whole time Bagwati, Natasha's bag, is featured in the film, Kabir is uneasy, restless, and not completely himself. As soon as she leaves with the bag, we can see a change in Kabir's character, and it indicates a turning point in his character arc. Number 2, use of space. It is very Zoya Akhtar to use space to get across a point, whether it's related to a character's feelings, to build some suspense, or to create a relationship between the viewer and the characters. Overall, it's a common theme for her to shoot characters in confined spaces to get their emotions across to the viewers. When Murad wants to write songs, he's seen on a rooftop in the open air through a handheld shot, which then cuts to a close-up. The open space of the terrace gives a sense of freedom, and the handheld shot adds an element of intimacy, since it makes the viewer think that they are sitting with Murad. However, when he's feeling dejected and lost, he's shot from the outside in a locked car. We can see that he is trapped, we can see that he's confined, but we are just bystanders. There is nothing we can do about it. A similar example of clever use of space is when the boys in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara change their cars. In the beginning of the movie, they have a black, compact, confined SUV. But by the end, you can see a beautiful pastel, blue, open-topped Mercedes convertible that becomes their primary mode of transportation. In addition to the change in color from black to blue, The change in space gives us an insight on how far the characters have come and how much the trip has really changed them. To give a clearer example of how she uses space quite literally, watch this clip. You can see that the three characters are behind bars and Imran is having an emotional breakthrough. As he shares more information with his friends, the camera keeps zooming in slowly but steadily, and the jail bars keep disappearing from the side of the frame. Here, the viewers are getting closer to Imran as he sheds his tough exterior to reveal his emotions. By the end of the shot, we have left the jail bars behind, come closer to Imran as he's opened up, and it makes for a beautiful, intimate scene between Imran, Arjun, Kabir, and the viewer. Classic Zoya Akhtar style is also using many establishing shots to showcase the landscapes, whether it's the beautiful coastline of Greece, the sun-kissed fields of Spain, or dingy chawls of Dharavi in Mumbai. The use of establishing shots serves to create a connection between the audience with the geography of the place being shot, so as to give the viewer an all-round immersive experience of the film. Another clever use of space is displayed in climax or confrontational scenes in Zoya's films. The shots are more often than not static or handheld, and they are more often than not shot from a distance, and they showcase many characters at once. Number 3. Use of music and non-diegetic sounds. Like every other Bollywood movie, Zoya Akhtar films are grand and feature multiple songs and dance sequences. In addition to acting as essential checkpoints in the plot, songs are generally a tool to break the tension between the characters or to relieve the audience in the middle of a heavy storyline. Galla Gudiya, a song from Dil Dhadakne Do, is filmed in one shot. It uses space wisely, and the performance of the actors with the music of the song in real time gives it a very personal touch. It feels like the audience is actually roaming around at a Punjabi family's party. Now, Gully Boy was a music-centric film. It had rap and hip-hop at its core. It used rap as a medium to share Murad's life story. However, Dil Dhadakne Do and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara used voiceovers to tie the film in addition to music. The protagonist of Dil Dhadakne Do is a dog, Pluto Mehra, who is voiced by Amir Khan. His voiceovers help the audience understand the plot by revealing important information. However, in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Imran's poetry voiceovers are often used to match the vibe of a scene and symbolize the character's emotions in a poetic way. So, with all that being said, I think Zoya Akhtar is a powerhouse of talent, and her films are best described as romanticized realities. The stories are relatable, the characters are phenomenal, and her technique allows the viewer to experience reality in a larger-than-life manner. Zoya's films are masterpieces. The cast and crew are incredibly talented. The different elements of artistry, whether it's dialogue, acting, camera work, dancing, background score, anything, they all shine independently. But when they come together, it creates a sweet medley of excitement, suspense, and surprise, and the audience is in for a ride. So I guess all I want to say is thank you. Thank you, Zoya, for giving me my favorite film. Thank you for giving us all masterpieces that we know we'll cherish and celebrate for the years to come. Thank you for helping us romanticize our realities, because everyone needs a little movie magic in their lives. Okay, that's a wrap.